Every time I pull up at the let out, it's a spectacle. Heard the shit was jumping like the water bought in Mexico. This the only time we on time.
Jidenna is an artist whose music spans hip-hop, dancehall, doo-wop and Afrobeat. We caught a few New York minutes to speak to one of music's most diverse artists about his upbringing, his music and aspirations.
You were born in Wisconsin, you grew up, you moved to Nigeria for a bit, and then you studied in California, you toured in New York, and now you're based in Atlanta. Is there a particular place that you feel the most at home?
I feel like a citizen of the world. You know, I think that's actually why the music that we create reaches so many people, is because it comes from a place and an artist that feels very connected to all the places I've lived, even places I haven't been, like Melbourne and Sydney, and I think that it's beautiful that it's been received thus far like it has.
Your singles kind of move across genres. Do you feel that that's a connection with where you've lived and kind of why you spread it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of artists nowadays do the same song 14 times in a row. I'm from the streaming era, you know what I'm saying? I grew up stealing songs and then eventually paying for it like a good old citizen. Sometimes I wake up, I feel on top of the world. Other days, the world is on top of me. So I definitely make regional, cross-genre, streaming, blend, gumbo music.
Is there a particular genre that you feel most comfortable in?
Well, there's a couple genres that were the root of my sound. Definitely hip-hop music for sure. The rest of it would probably be a blend of just different traditional Nigerian music, classic rock and roll from the late 60s to the early to mid 70s. I know it doesn't sound like I do that, but I actually write a lot of my records based off what the Beach Boys wrote, or the Beatles wrote, or the Stones wrote, or the Kinks. But I definitely say hip-hop was the foundation for me growing up in the different cities in the U.S. We grew up in the parks just rapping and making beats in our parents' bathrooms. Having lived where I live, coming from another country and then coming to the U.S., obviously Nigeria and West Africa and Africa as a whole is very dear to me. But I lived in Caribbean neighborhoods when I moved there. So to live in these areas, I'm in America, I'm hanging around with African Americans, Caribbean Americans, Africans, Central American Africans, if you will. It's just natural for me to create music that sounds like a diasporic culture. But I will say that I think that it's also the times we live in right now. I think that people are mixing all types of influences together. I think that we live not only just in a cross-genre time or cross-regional time, but an intergenerational time, and a time where I can be in 2016, 2017, still drawing on the past, the 80s, the 20s, the 60s, all in one record.
Have you been to London?
I have.
Yeah, because I lived in London for a couple of years.
I love London.
Do you feel that that is a really good example of the unity of diaspora, like a great example?
I think London and the UK, and specifically London, is just like a great example of how people can enjoy music. And I think just in general, man, they're quick-witted and very sharp. You know, I love it because the way they communicate in London is how I feel and what I feel close to and how I want to communicate with Americans. And we there sometimes, but other times I think we got some things to learn from other places on the planet.
Yeah. So let's talk about Luke Cage.
Yeah.
That must have been huge for you.
Yeah, no, it was cool because we had released that track a year before. People seeing that for the first time, more so than they saw it when it first came out, which is great. It revived the record, and it showed people, first and foremost, that I come from a rap background. So a lot of people thought I was just a singer, but you know, me, like other artists, like the Anderson .Paaks, like the Bryson Tillers, the Drakes, all these people, even Kendrick to a certain extent, we morph in between melody and rap. Kid Cudi, I can't forget him too,
Yeah, because that scene is delivered so well because it's like the three main characters are like in these chief scenarios. You know, it all kind of plays into the song's message of rising above and being yourself, kind of, and self-empowerment, which you're kind of about.
That's a great synopsis of it. I need to take that. I'm gonna run with that. The song is also just about overcoming, you know, your circumstances, your past, maybe family struggles, or struggles with yourself and self-doubt, and then really honing into your highest self. And in my case, because of my heritage, that higher self is the chief in me.
thanks for talking to us.
Thank
you. Know,
you.
if you're ever in Australia, you got to shout out Complex Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm running late, so just meet me at the let out. Yeah.